Hello, and I am Brian Foster. And today we're talking about feeding the masses. There's multiple areas in the New Testament where Jesus feeds multitudes of people 5,000, 3,000, with a few loaves of bread and some fish. How does he accomplish this? First, please hit the bell, hit the subscribe, and hit the like button. This will help the algorithm so we can spread Spiritism far and wide so people can understand how the spirit world and the physical world actually operates and your place within it. Now, let's discuss this. The important thing to understand is the physical world is a subset of the spirit world. The spirit world is a place where, as we are immortal spirits, we go, and thought is action. Our minds create things. That is why we're going through these difficult trials on earth, is to rip out our primitive emotions and replace them with more uplifting emotions: love, charity, fraternity, honesty. Because when we become higher and higher spirits, we can create with our minds. The spirit world is a logical construct. Hence, the physical world is no different, but it plays by a different set of rules. Those rules were established. So spirits, meaning us, we go and we learn. Now, on our planet of atonement, where we live life after life in order to pay for our wrongful past deeds so we can improve our character, all necessary, because remember, we're going to have immense power with our mind, so we have to fix this first, correct? So, but we on earth in our physical bodies, we believe we're physical, right? We believe we're real. We believe that there are natural laws that you can't feed 5,000 people with a few loaves of bread. So let's discuss how this really happened. Now remember, Spiritism tells us there are no miracles. There's just things we don't understand. So let's explore these things we don't understand. Now, I remember reading this in the Bible, and I thought, well, that's impossible. You can't feed, that many people with just a few loaves of bread and some fish. Because, of course, I was tied to the natural world, what we perceive the world to be, because we're thinking human beings and we see what we think are basic laws of nature, and you cannot go against that. You can't make 1,000 loaves of bread out of one loaf of bread. It doesn't happen because there are physical limitations. But once we think about who we really are, we are in this role-playing game, and we're in this very complex matrix where when we see things and we perceive things, they look real to us, they feel real, and we have definite guidelines of what we can and cannot do, and therefore we are constricted. Now, when we have a master and a leader, an owner of the game, he's not the complete owner. God's the complete owner, but he can change the rules. He has the power. He is kind of like the administrator of the game. Things can be different. Now, I think there's two explanations of why these things happen in the Bible, and they could both be true. And they, of course, and there in many, Mark and Matthew, etc. There are many instances of them talking about feeding the multitude. The first is that the spirits have told us when Jesus came to earth and when he talked to the multitude, as he talked to the multitude, the people who believed in him, the people who had open minds, saw the visions of what he was talking about. When he did these great parables and these visions of heaven, they saw it. That is why his speeches, that's why people flock to hear them, not only to be healed, but they flock to hear him because they just experienced these just marvelous things, because he had the power in his mind to put these visions into everyone else's mind. Now, those who didn't believe and who were there just for fun, they didn't hear anything. They didn't see anything extra besides what he spoke. Now, This is also how spirits talk to each other. They put pictures in each other's minds. They, as well as communicating direct mind to mind, they also put pictures into each other's minds. There's two ways of communication. Actually, more than that, but these two we'll talk about. So this could happen because Jesus willed it so, that they would be receptive to that type of communication for those people in his sphere of influence. This could have said, when he fed them, they could have just mentally known that they were fed, and they thought they were satisfied, and his plus that with the fact that he was always surrounded by many spirits that no one else could see, right? That could fortify these people and give them, passes and give them direct energy to their spirits, which would be reflected in their physicalness, that they would feel like they were satisfied. So you could have those two things working at the same time. The third one is bread and fish were created, which is possible given that this is we are in a logical construct like the Matrix, where things can be created. After all, in the spirit universe, you can create using universal fluid. You create what you want. Spirits come together, create a whole building. Spirits come together, they'll create a statue, a park, a water feature, mountain ranges. These things will happen because of the power of their mind. There is no reason that cannot be done on our natural world, on Earth, if those rules are allowed to be violated. This is, I'm sure people are thinking, well, this is a strange concept. But once you understand the spirit world, and once you understand how complex it is, and once you delve into Spiritism and see that we are logical personalities, we're unique characters, right? We're unique personalities, that we go through these multitudes of lives, building up our own self personality and attitudes, and yet we're not created like automatons, like robots. We go through life after life to become perfect, to rip out these primitive emotions, but not to be stamped the same, right? God did not want us to be like ants, like worker ants. No, we're going to be powerful entities, but we'll all be different. We'll all have our own little set of quirks and laughter and attitudes, but we will be loving, kind, and compassionate people. And part of that is our training on Earth and other planets. And as this planet goes from a planet of atonement to a planet of regeneration, things will get better for us. So I hope this helps explain how these things could happen. Because after you read the Bible and go, that can't happen, and then you dismiss it out of hand. You can't feed 5,000. Well, once you understand what the world we are really living in, there are ways of doing that. By suggestion, right? By these auto-suggestions to spirits, right, who think they're physical, but they're actually mental, and you can supply power to them. You can also create from universal fluid what you want on this game set, on this environment, which can be called Earth, whatever you want. So these things can happen. And once you understand Spiritism, it becomes logical. And it also becomes logical that Jesus, who is the leader of our planet, comes to Earth to give us this shock to say, everything you thought about until now, it's been slightly wrong. I'm going to start teaching you the next level of love. I'm not going to do the command like the Old Testament, where if you don't do this, you're going to be punished. No, I'm going to talk to you and say, let's start putting love and understanding in. And then came Allan Kardec in the third revelation, who's the codifier of Spiritism, talking to high spirits organized by the Spirit of Truth to tell us, okay, I'm giving you the first revelation, which is Moses, the second revelation, which is Jesus Christ. Now the third. Now I'm going to tell you more about who you really are. How do you operate the truth of that? You go through life after life and you learn. And we're telling you this because we're getting you ready for the next stage. If we get more information, as Spiritism tells us, we will be given more information as we are technologically and culturally ready for it. So these things that seem so fantastic and otherworldly and science fiction actually are rooted in a base, a foundation of reality, reality that we cannot perceive, but we shall when we pass over to the other side. I hope this helps. And if you'd like to explore more about the spirit world, who we are, read my series of 3 books, Heaven and Below, where I talk about the different levels of heaven, Jesus, and the levels below heaven. The second book is Spirits in the Spirit Universe. Spirits, who are we? How do we ascend? What powers do we have? In my third book, How Spirits Guide Us, how we are guided, each one of us on earth, in the spirit world, and how whole nations and corporations and cultures are guided by the spirit world, all for one purpose. The one purpose is to help us keep ascending in life after life, keep getting better, until one day we can actually become a productive member of a spirit society. Right now, we're like students. We think we're productive. Not really. Anyway, I want to say God bless to everyone. God bless.